This is the Hello World Podcast. Moving to organizational leadership, if you're leading a company, what traits of a successful company in the future should senior leaders start building right now?
Sure. And it's the same philosophy, Louis, right? Leaders collectively should create an informed perspective on the dimensions of the future that they would encounter over the next 10 years. And I talk about 5 dimensions for the companies. And the first dimension is that the future is digital. So transform your business to lead your industry, transform your business to be the disruptor and not be disrupted. And a lot of the times people think this digital transformation is about technology. You see many companies failing at digital transformation because they look at the latest buzzwords in the technology world and they think that if they buy this technology and insert it into their legacy system, suddenly they would be transformed as a company. But digital transformation actually is not about technology. Technology is just a means to an end. The transformation itself is about defining what problem you're trying to solve. It's defining what kind of value you want to create for your stakeholders. It's defining how can you make your customer experience better? How can you make your employee experience better? And last but not the least, digital transformation is about tweaking your business model if necessary, or even completely revamping it. I give an example in the book that Domino's Pizza, for example, just 12 years ago was struggling. And they only gave you only 2 options to order Domino's Pizza 12 years ago. Either you walk into their store in the US, or if they have other locations around the world, or you call and then they deliver. Today, they have gone through massive digital transformation and they give people options to order pizza through 15 different ways, including not clicking. There is a 0-click option. You just have to open their app, and if it remains open for 10 seconds or so, Domino's automatically delivers your favorite pizza, which it already has in their database. So the reason why it has more than 50% of the share in the US online market is because it has been investing in the digital transformation by keeping the customer at the center of it. Their transformation was not about technology. It was about how do we make the customer's life easier. And that's what they have done. So first and foremost, I think companies would need to do is to take a step back and say, how can we improve our customer experience? How can we improve our employee experience? How do we create value for all the stakeholders? And in order to do that, do we need to completely revamp our business model or not? So that's number one. The second dimension for the companies is that future is meaningful. Gone are the days when people and the companies would only talk about their corporate social responsibility in their annual report, and there's a paragraph assigned to their corporate social responsibility, and then there's a picture of the CEO giving a big cardboard check to a local charity. Those are the days that are gone. It's a new world now with the digital natives storming the workplace. They are very purpose-driven. They want to know, what are you committing to as part of your corporate social responsibility before they commit to your brand, both as employees as well as customers. They want to know what you stand for before they stand with you. So how do you become purpose-driven company? You have to define a purpose that actually serves as your true north. It gives you direction when you are lost, when you are facing difficult decisions as to what to do, right? And I give many examples in the book as to how best-in-class companies have done that. For example, Patagonia. I give an example of that company in my book, that it is so driven by its efforts around improving the environment that it selects people who are highly motivated to improve the environment. Mm-hmm. In fact, when you go to apply for the job and you get the job, you don't get a typical handbook. The title of the handbook is something like, Let My Employees Surf. And those employees working at their head office are actually allowed to go and surf if the swell is high. Mm-hmm. Nobody is asking them questions. So how do you create a culture that is driven by some singular purpose that everybody can rally behind? Mm-hmm. And the purpose that animates everything that you do within your organization. So it's going to be very important, especially with the digital natives, not just being the biggest part of your employees, but also becoming a huge part of your consumer group.
Mm-hmm. So far, Maulik, before you continue, what's striking to me is, again, digital is not just about technology. It's more of the problems that you solve. It's more of the people. And now, in the second thing that you mentioned, it's now about culture. Pay attention to culture and purpose.
Exactly. Very important. Companies who are going to nail those two things are going to be in a much better position to embrace the future and thrive going forward. So the third one, Louis, is the future is boundless. Mm-hmm. Meaning there are so many opportunities for companies to take advantage of. But in order to do that, they would have to unleash innovation. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why companies are struggling with innovation today is because they think that if they become cosmetic, if they take some random disjointed actions to appear like they are innovative, they will become innovative. So I have seen companies who suddenly out of the blue will take all of the C-suite members, fly them into Silicon Valley for a week, let them go and visit Google or Amazon or some of the other startups. And they think that if they breathe this innovation coming from other companies, it will transform the leaders, but also the companies. But that doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. I have seen companies who say, okay, well, you know what, we want to be innovation. We want to be innovative. So they go out and buy this small startup, but they don't change the culture of their big organization. So what happens is they buy this startup, but then it suffocates in this extremely bureaucratic parent company. Mm-hmm. Or I have seen companies who just set up a innovation lab and think that by just having few people who are assigned to thinking innovation, they would become innovative. But that doesn't happen either, because the rest of the organization is extremely would have an extreme hard time adapting to any of the new ideas coming from this innovation lab. So, you cannot become innovative by doing this random cosmetic disjointed actions. You can become innovative by really defining what innovation means to your company. Mm-hmm. There are many definitions. If you go and Google the definition of innovation, there are at least 100 or more different definitions. So people have to decide first, what does innovation mean to your company? Mm-hmm. Then you have to create your own innovation strategy. Mm-hmm. Then you have to come up with an action plan and execute that action plan flawlessly. If you don't do this thing, then innovation would just remain a buzzword, but it won't change anything in your company as well.
Mm-hmm. And Maulik, when people talk about innovation, they really refer to what others have done, innovative blockbusters. But what worked in one may not necessarily work in your case, no? Or within your context. So it's not a copy-paste thing.
No, exactly. And I actually give three different examples, Louis, as to three typical innovation strategies companies can adapt to. Mm-hmm. The one is where you are making small, minor changes to the existing products. For example, Gillette. Gillette razor, I have been using it for some 25 years since I started shaving. And over the years, it has improved. First, I remember my first Gillette only had one blade, and now there are 5 blades, and then there are things that make shaving so easier and feels so good. But those innovations that Gillette did are all incremental innovation. They were little by little they were changing it. So that's one innovation, one type of innovation where you incrementally improve your existing products. The second type of innovation that I talk about is the one that Amazon did. They started a company by selling books, but then they realized that there is no need for them to only focus on the books. They have figured out how the supply chain works for the books. So they can sell practically anything. So they went from selling books to practically anything to everybody around the world. And it has become, a $1 trillion plus company over the years. So that's a different philosophy where you have a product and you expand horizontally. It's called the adjacent innovation. And then the third innovation I talk about is what Apple did. When Steve Jobs introduced iPhone, there was no market for iPhone. There was no smartphone before that.
Correct.
They actually created a new category. So that's a different innovation. So companies would have to ask themselves, which innovation strategy would fit for them? Is it the incremental innovation? Is it the adjacent innovation, or completely new innovation where you introduce a new category in the world?
Hi, this is Louis Banta, CEO and Chief Consultant of LJMB, or Learning Just Made Better. Thanks for watching my video. To get more videos like this, click subscribe and hit the bell icon below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and share this to others.